Hi, welcome back to another Terranscapes video. Today we are going to be taking a look at the new work that has been done on the Orc display board, and I have put together the altar, although now I think the idol is part of the altar. It's all, part of the worship anyway, and I've added an extra piece to it, just suddenly struck me to do so. So I'm going to show you those, but just before I do, I wanted to mention, since I'm trying to restrain myself from shooting extra videos at the current time, I wanted to do a mini review on my Patreon page about two products that I recently started using. They are the Duplicator and the Chopper 2 from Northwest Shortline. And they are tools designed to help you cut styrene quickly and easily, and there were definitely some problems with them. Now, these products are made also by Micromark, but Northwest Shortline supposedly is the originator of it. I'll probably explain that a little bit in the post. So I'm going to make that post public, and I mention it here because I know not everybody finishes the videos, which is fine. But it was a moment where I said, I have to tell people about this so I can explain to you what went wrong and what I did to fix it. And it's sort of like a consumer bulletin on these items. So take a look at the Patreon page. There's a link down in the description, and then there will be a link over, well, not a link actually, but the address will be here to get there, and it'll be a public post so everybody can take a look at it because I want everybody to be able to see it. So enough about that, and I don't have much more of an intro, so let's go take a look at the work that has been done. So here you see the what I'm calling the altar, but maybe it's better to call it a worship table, since I sort of think of the idol as part of this whole, altar-esque environment, for lack of a better term. And there's not too much to say about its construction. You've seen me talk a little bit before about using wire. In this instance, I went with the wire, partly because it just gave me a really nice way to tie things in tight without having to do a lot of sculpting. As you can see, I actually didn't really do any sculpting per se on this piece. The next section I'll show you had just a touch to do. But basically, this is the product of having a boatload of bits on hand and being able to really tap into them to create whatever sort of whimsical environment I wanted to. I definitely wanted to have shields. If you recall my earlier drawing of the very primitive drawing of what this might look like, one of the things that I retained was having some shields in the front. I definitely wanted the sort of Mork Gork shield motif going on, and of course I picked up the emblem from the Spider Riders, but the posts, this is from the Goblin, oh my goodness, what is it, the Escape from Goblin Town terrain set. A little struggle there. And the nice thing about these posts is some of them have little skulls and things like that on them, and I really liked adding that in. It sort of helped to make this look a little bit different than the standard banner for the Spider Riders. I think that's for Spider Riders. Well, if it isn't, it's for the Ragnarok. I think it's the Spider Riders though. And I thought maybe for, with the theme of being a sacrificial kind of idea, I created a little large dagger for the table. This is the only thing not glued down right now. And I used a spider leg and another weapon hilt, and this is from a spear, I believe, and put those together. And I thought that came out pretty nice, actually. I wanted to have a pot of something on the table, and originally I had thought about using, creating a little fire under it, and that, I don't know, that seemed a little bit too much, certainly for work, and I wasn't really sure how to fit that all in, so I ended up just raising it up on a couple skulls, and I thought that gave it a nice look as well. The hand weapons here you see, I decided to just sort of throw them into the table, and that gives it sort of like they're easy at hand, or in between sacrificing, and I'll show you my sacrificial lamb, if you will, in just a second. And the last thought on this, like I said, there isn't too much to tell here. It's sort of self-evident, but I did do one modification on this spider. One of the problems with these spiders is that they have a pretty fixed pose, and when a spider is crawling on, something more constrained, like coming over the edge of this board, those legs are going to wrap around. They're not going to stick right out. So that actually took me a second to do, and what I ended up doing was cutting the legs. Wait a minute, let's keep this in the close cam for a second here. Cutting the legs, and you can see that more on this side, and then bending them around, and then, to be honest, I used a little liquid green stuff after me lambasting it in a previous video. I used that to fill in these little spots, and that, I think, came out really nicely. It's a small detail, but most people won't know the work that went into it, but I think it adds a lot to the piece. So that gives you a look at the altar table, and let's take a look at the other addition I came up with. When I got a handful of bits from Dan, and again, thank you, Dan, for that, one of the things he included was this little halfling that's all bound up in rope, and he's looking a little despairing of, I don't know if that's going to show in the camera too well, and he's facing a little, no, you can see it in the close cam. And I just love this bit, and I was like, I have to use that somewhere. And I got inspired thinking, well, let's hang him from a tree, and then let's have snotlings nearby. Like, this snotling is beating him to, I don't know, for his own pleasure. And that made me, feel like there's a little scene going on here. And since I had, wanted to use a tree, I'll put that in air quotes, tree, the giant club made a nice proxy for that. So perhaps they dragged over a goblin club, why do I keep saying that? A giant club, stuck it in the ground, and then hung, impaled a couple new branches in the side of it, and then that way they could hang the halfling. One of the things that I decided to leave in was the stone that is part of the club normally. Of course, there's several clubs that come with the kit, but I decided to use this one because I felt like it gave a nice counterweight to the halfling. Like, trying to think physics-wise, I don't know if it's enough or if it all balances, but at least it gives it a little bit more of a plausible look to it. And then, since I had this tree going, I decided, well, let's fill it up with some bits. So I put a couple shields on, like this one's wedged in and this one's tied on, and I used some of the wire to make it look like these are, you can see around on the back side of this one, that probably in the far cam for a second, a little bit better. So I made it look like, they had tied on that top and chopped out a little hole and wedged it in. And then let's see. And then I thought I'd add one of those hanging animals from the giant kit. There's a few in there, and this is normally a water skin. So there's a little spout that comes out of his mouth, and then there's a patch here and some sewn work. So I had to grind all that off and cut out the spout, make it look more like it's an animal and not a water skin. And then the last thing probably to highlight is that I did have to resculpt in this area because the giant hand is obviously there. So I had to carve that off and then do a little resculpting in and try to match, again, I'm trying to match the texture, and I think I did a fairly good job. I'm pretty happy about that, and this is a running theme that's going through all the pieces now, is matching wood texture to itself, and I'm doing that on a lot of the planks in another piece I'll show you at some point in the future, but that gives you a little idea of what went into this piece. And the last thing I should mention, and that's a troll head, I believe, skull from the little, there's like a little icon pile that comes with the night goblins, maybe? I don't know. But anyway, I decided to throw that in. I kind of like that, a little different. But I'm going to have to get in frame here to show you. You may be wondering what's going on with this little box here. This is my current plan about using the recessed box so that the pieces, all right, here we go, I'm coming into frame, so that the pieces can be removed for transport, and then when you want to set up the display board, you can take them and slot them in. If I can do that, there we go. So my wife mentioned magnets. She said, why are you doing that? She didn't realize what my thinking was, but even so, it was not a bad thing for me to think about. One of the reasons why I wanted to go with this box, I wasn't expecting to go this long, but was to be able to have a scene. So I can put bushes and all sorts of little features around these elements and then not worry about trying to fit in something with magnets that kind of has to squeeze in between certain things on the board. Well, this is a little bit of work. I won't kid you building these because I want it to be really tight. I need really tight corners. And I want things to be 90 degrees, and of course when this is inserted, right, there's going to be a little seam, so I want that to be as tight as possible. I'm going to be giving this a little bit more thought as to whether I want to pursue it or not. I don't know. I like it, but it's work. Is it needed? I'm not sure. So for the upcoming pieces, I won't be creating the boxes, and I'm going to take a look at pieces and how they might be magnetized to fit into the table. But see, here it's nice to have it sort of sunken into this, right? But maybe I could just crop it flat and put magnets on. There's not a lot of space there, so I don't know. This is going to require some more thinking. But if you recall from my intro, I mentioned the chopper and the duplicator, and the reason I mentioned them is I was using them extensively to create these boxes. And so if you go over to my Patreon mini review, I'll explain a little bit about some of the challenges that I had, some of the successes, and the ways that I worked with those two tools. So that gives you a look at the second part of the altar scene. That's probably the way I'm thinking of it right now. And not much more to say about it. So that gives you a look at the display board additions, and really feel like now there's some momentum going on, looking forward to building the next pieces. Not sure what that's going to be yet. Maybe the orc. No, I'm not going to say. I don't know. My whim will take me at some moment, and that's what I will begin. But hopefully you enjoyed taking a look at these pieces, maybe found something inspirational or helpful for yourself. Questions and comments are always welcome down below. I am going to be trying to get more caught up on them. And sometimes I say, oh, take a look down there and see some, discussions that might happen. And then I realize I might not actually answer them for like 3 weeks or something. So that's not really helpful advice if you're just new to the channel or this video. So I'm going to work on that. That's not a promise, though. It means it's on my mind. And if you want to see me reply to comments, then you'd have to go back a couple videos. So, yeah. So I guess if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I hope you find something here that's of interest to you. And if you are new to the channel, then when you go back and take a look at the older videos, you will see, of course, that I have answered those comments. So hopefully that makes some sense. It's kind of how my mind is right now. Anyway, if you don't go back and look at the older videos, hopefully you will come back and see the next video in this project, because you know that I will be back soon with another Terranscapes video. I recently started using the Chopper 2 and the Duplicator. God, I hope I have these names right. And this is from... Who makes it?